All right, you guys, I think I'm back. I am so sorry about that. I don't know what in the world. Everybody refresh your internet. Come on. I don't know, guys. Hang on just a second. Anybody back? Okay, hey, Amy, I see ya. Hi, Paula. Hang on, I'm working to get my computer back up. Goodness gracious sakes alive. There we go. Okay, I think this is it. I think we're back. Okay, we're back. Yeah, we're back. Woohoo! Woo! Thank you guys so much for being patient. I got nothing. We got no snow left anywhere. I have no idea why that was the borkification that it was, but it was. So I appreciate your patience. When last we chatted, I was stamping my Merry Music DSP with Garden Green using the beautiful pine boughs in Christmas Happiness. Let us continue, shall we? So, hey Verna, hey Julie and Sue and Karen, I'm so glad you guys are back. All right, so I've stamped 2 that are full strength. I'm going to stamp another one that is stamped off once. And because my stamp image goes off of the cardstock, or of the paper in this case, I didn't just stamp and then stamp, because you'll have an uneven stamp off, if you will. So I go ahead and ink up, and then I'm stamping off on my grid paper, and then I'm going to put a stamped off pine bough right there like that. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to set this aside because I'll use him again later. Alrighty. Alright. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Alice. Glad you guys came back. I appreciate you not just going off willy-nilly. Alright, so now I'm going to make a few pine cones. And I'm going to use both this is the smaller pine cone in the set. Well, actually, it's the medium one. This one's kind of an odd little pine cone. I don't use it very much. So this is kind of my go-to pine cone in this set. So first I'm going to stamp the outline image in Early Espresso. And I'm just going to stamp it a couple of times so that it's going to come popping out from behind my sentiment. And this is not a case where you necessarily would need to do any matting, because it really is going to look like it's just fine. Alright, and then we'll stamp that like that. And then I'm going to use the fill-in image in soft suede. Okay, hey Linda. And you really do with this particular, well, really with any photopolymer, if you can use the little silicone mat, you will be doing yourself a favor. So I'm doing a fill-in here with soft suede ink. Get a good press, like so. Okay. And we're going to save him for later too. Then I'm just going to wipe down my silicone mat. I could also have put a piece of just plain paper there to protect it, and then it would have dried much quicker, but I didn't, because, you know, why would I do that? That would be cray-cray. So anyway, as I was telling you, he met his friend Lucky, new friend Lucky, and they played and played and played. So in the next couple of days, you're going to see some photos from our trip. And I have to say, I got a few very good photos of Lucky and Finn playing with my little iPhone. So now what I'm doing is matting this on a piece of basic black cardstock with some adhesive. Okay, now let's make a sentiment. What I have here is a 5" by, or no, not 5" 5/8 of an inch by 3 3/4 inch piece of Whisper White cardstock. And I'm going to stamp, what I want is Christmas Happiness, but I want Christmas Happiness. So you can see I'm going to have to do a little inventiveness here. And that's not so very difficult to do. So let us begin. Yes, ma'am, that's a tape runner. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently, with my Cherry Cobbler ink pad, I'm just going to ink up just the word Christmas. I'm going to get that little piece of paper off of there because sure as shooting, I will forget it's there and then I will workify the second word. There we go. Okay, so that is just the word Christmas. And I'm going to stamp it about there, like so. Oh, that didn't work out good, so watch what you do. You turn it over. And I'm going to use my chamois. It's not a chamois. Here's a little trick I learned from my good friend Amy about a good tool for cleaning your photopolymer. Sometimes I think you will discover that if you use the Stampin' Mist for the photopolymers, it'll sometimes leave kind of a greasy film. Using one of these little boogers that I took the label off of, I don't know why. This is a synthetic chamois, and I got a very, very large carton of it for not very much money off of Amazon, and I cut myself a little piece. And you just wet it, and it wipes the stamp down very well. And that is especially important when you're attempting to do a double stamp and you don't want to see that word again. So let us try again. I'm going to do better this time. I'm pretty sure I will do better this time. So I'm going to just do a little double checking there, like that. Okay. The absorber, that's what it's called. Thank you, Amy. I like chamois myself, but it's not its name. Okay, so we're going to try that again. Stamp Christmas. And that may have an issue. It does. You see my problem there? So, pull out my Stampin' Right marker in Cherry Cobbler and finish that off. And we'll finish off the S too. All right. I did this much better when I made my prototype. I think because I wasn't sticking I was able to stick my head right over the top, but you don't want to see the top of my head. So then I clean that off with my chamois. Okay. And now what I'm going to do, watch closely, is I'm going to ink the bottom word, happiness, like so. And then, because it's very hard, almost impossible, to ink that one word without getting the other word, I am going to take a Crafter's Best Friend, Scotch tape, and I'm going to cover everything else. And I've used an extra long piece so that I can attach it securely to my acrylic block. Like that. And then I'm going to line this up. I'm going to pull it to me just a little bit, you guys, so I can make sure I get it right. Okay, so and give that a stamp. And there we have Christmas happiness. And if you don't get it perfect, fix it. This is why one of the things I highly recommend to everybody is, for every ink color that you have a pad, you will be so happy if you also have the Stampin' Right marker that goes with it, because you can fix those little boo-boos. Yes, I could have cut the same stamp apart, but they are very close together and they kind of interweave, so it would have been a bit of a trick, Karen, which is why I really just did not do that on this one. Okay, so now I'm going to make myself a very shallow banner end. Remember, snip up the center as far as you want your banner to go, and then snip from corner to middle, like so. And then I'm going to edge my banner like this. We had this discussion last week, I think. Kind of be careful, because that's gonna be a little wet for a second. But this is a pretty viable way to add a little definition to your die cut or your banner without adding any thickness. So it's kind of a nice little thing. And then I'm going to let that set for just a half a second. For just a half a second. Alright, and while that is kind of drying, I'm going to pop this onto my card front with some dimensionals. Right? Okay. Like that. I see Amy is answering a question about refilling the Stamp-N-Write markers, which is one of their handy little features. Which is also why I try to recommend to folks that if you have an ink pad, you have a Stamp-N-Write marker and the refill for that color. Alright, so I've just dimensionalized the heck out of it. You can refill blender pens too. Oh, blender pens, yes. With what, Miss Karen? All right, so here we go. You can see I'm kind of offsetting it up to the corner, just kind of eyeballing that border. And then I'm going to put a tiny mini dimensional on the left end of this and remove that. Is there a way to get the tip awesome again on markers? You mean like straight and happy and nice? I don't think there is. Maybe Amy knows different. The trick is to try to keep them as decent as you can, as long as you can, and to not scrub. Especially if you're talking, I'm assuming you're talking about the brush tip. Like that. Okay, so then I'm going to use a little liquid glue. And I'm going to attach this right about the same area where everything came together. So all of a sudden, there it is, with nothing going on. I'll make a quick Billy Moan bow. And to do this, I'm using linen thread, and I'm just going to wrap 4 times around 4 fingers. 3, 4, and 4 times around 2 fingers. 3, 4, and snip that. And then I'm going to squish it together like so, and give it a twist, like that, like that. Pull out my handy tweezers to act as a third hand. And I'm just going to tie a knot, a double knot around that. Hopefully without getting my tweezers in the middle. Alrighty. Darn. Okay. And then I'm going to play with this. This is one of those little bows that you want it to look sloppy, but it needs to look like Farrah Fawcett's hair, which looks sloppy, but you know took hours. But in fact, it's not going to. It's going to look like it took hours and won't. So just kind of pull it apart like that. And if you get some loops that are bigger than you like, you can just kind of pull them back through the middle, like that. See how easy? Isn't that fun? Cool. All right, so we learned some new stuff today, how to refill blender pens. Woohoo! All right, now I'm just going to take a glue dot and attach this right after I take off the extra. I'm going to attach this right about there for my little linen bow. And then I'll trim off these ends. And to finish off the front, a few little cherry cobbler shapes, enamel shapes. Now, you guys remember my tip from last week with the using the blender pens? Not the blenders, you got me thinking blender pens. The Stampin' Blends to color your pearls. You can use that if you didn't have enamel shapes or you wanted to do something a little different. You could color those pearls just like that. We'll put that right there. And there's the card front. Easy peasy, nice and squeezy. All right, on the inside, very simple. We're going to stamp a second sentiment from Christmas Happiness. Thanks, Robin. I wanted Farrah Fawcett hair so bad. And you can't have Farrah Fawcett hair when your hair is straight like a stick. This I can promise you. Okay, so I've got my second sentiment, and I'm just going to stamp it in the middle of my Whisper White panel, like that. And then I'm going to pull out my pine bough again. And I'm going to ink it up with garden green ink. And then I'm going to stamp it off once on my grid paper. And put my silicone mat under again. And then I'm going to stamp it right over the top of my sentiment. Like so. Boom! Boom! Booyah! Booyah! Alright. And then, because I don't see why not, I'm just going to put a little cherry cobbler enamel shape right there. Then I'm going to put this to the side so that I don't, stick something in it. And then we'll put this on its basic black mat. And into our card base. Like this. See how quick this is? So if you haven't got all your Christmas cards done, this one would be a really quick one to make. Now, I spent a little time doing this and seeing what I liked, and as you can see, I decided to go old school and center it up. So that it was just too far outside my comfort zone to get the inside off like that on this one. So there you go. There is the card. Let's do a quick, let me tighten that up a little bit. Let's do a quick envelope. Yeah, Kathy, sometimes you just have to be kind of careful. Make sure that your first stamp is fully stamped. So you can see here, I was making sure, whether I said it or not, that I had the full image stamped. If you get part of it stamped but part not, when you go for the second one, sure as shooting, every single time on the second one, the whole stamp will stamp, and then you'll have part of it stamped off and part of it full strength, and it's not going to look so good. Yeah. So let's see. Let's make us an envelope, and I'm just going to repeat the pine bough like so. I'm going to go like this, and then since I only did that part, I'm going to go ahead. See what I'm talking about? How this piece right here was off of the envelope. So can you see that? That it's still fully inked. So when I do my second stamp, I'm going to make sure that that part is still off of the envelope, or it will show as a full strength image, and I don't want that. So give a good press, and there you go. And then I'm going to wipe this down again, because sure as shooting, I'll get green on the back. which will mean another embellishment. All right. Yes, that is correct. The the silicone mat helps a lot. All right, and then I'm going to pull out my pine cone again and make our, let's see, what do we want to do here? I think let's go right there. All right, and that was in early espresso, and then I'm going to fill it in with soft suede. Definitely try this card, Karen. You're gonna like it. You're gonna like it. Okay. And I'm just lining that up with my outline image. And there we go. All right. And then I'll put the silicone mat aside, and we'll put our envelope flap cover. There we go. Alrighty, easy peasy. And give it a good rub. Alright. And a quick fussy cut. Just like this. Alright. Now, you guys, I need to tell you before I get gone, I hope you saw my second post today, or my newsletter, or on my Facebook page. Tomorrow is free shipping from Stampin' Up, regardless of the size of the order. So if it's a $40 order, it's free shipping. If it's a $300 order, it's free shipping. So be a great time to take advantage of me, because my triple peppermint points are still going on. And Stampin' Up. You should also take advantage of Stampin' Up. So tomorrow, free shipping on any kind of order plus triple peppermint points. And also, I hope you saw that I have released my catalog shares for the holiday catalog, or the occasions catalog, and I hope you'll get signed up. All right, so there we go. Christmas Happiness, one of the retiring stamp sets. So if you don't have it, then I hope you will get it soon. Hope the person who gets that envelope doesn't have a long address. Yes, that's true, but it'll go over the top. It'll be okay. Or it'll be one that goes in with something else and you just put their name right there. Just right there. All right. So I hope you all have a great evening and had a wonderful weekend, and that your week is looking good. If you're dealing with fires, please be safe. If you're dealing with snow, please have fun and be safe. Thanks so much for spending the evening with me. See you next week. Bye-bye.